et ego Iosebs cardinalis Bosanic spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et hec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Philippus cardinalis Barbaras spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Petrus cardinalis Erde spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et hic sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Now, when the Cardinals entered into the Sistine Chapel, they entered in reverse order, but now to read the oath one by one, they enter in order of seniority, but also by seniority of the order. So first, we had the order of bishops, cardinal bishops, led by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, followed by the Cardinal Patriarch of the Oriental Rite, and then there will be the Cardinal Presbyters, and ending with the Cardinal Deacons.
And when each cardinal has sworn to uphold the oath read by Cardinal Parolin, the Master of Pontifical Liturgical Celebrations will proclaim extra omnes, let everyone go out, basically expelling everybody who's not taking part in the actual election from the Sistine Chapel. The doors are then closed for the first time. The Master of Pontifical Liturgical Celebrations remains inside, along with Cardinal Cantalamessa, of course, who's taking part in the conclave, but has also been chosen to give the meditation. That is in accordance with the norms of the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Gregis. You'll hear that title quite a bit. That is the document that guides every step of the conclave, and in fact the whole period of interregnum, the death or resignation of a pope and the election of a new pope. The Constitution prescribes that the meditation should reflect on the very grave duty of electing a new pope, of the necessity of going into that election and making a choice with the right intentions, and of considering only the will of God, judgment of God, and the needs of Holy Mother Church. The cardinals are called to be concerned solely with the good of the universal Church.
Casimirus spondeo voveo giuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et hic sancta Evangelii Dei, quae magnum mea tango.
Et ego Albertus cardinalis pater bendigedon spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuet et hic sancta Dei Evangelia quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Reinhardus cardinalis Marx spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et hic sancta Dei Evangelia quae manu mea tango.
Et ego João Brás cardinalis Diavis spondeo foveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et eco sancta Evangelia quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Thomas cardinalis Collins spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et hic sancta Evangelia quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Willem Jacobus cardinalis Eijk spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et hic sancta Dei Evangelie quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Iosef cardinalis Betori spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Timothy Cardinalis Dolan, Spondio, Vovio, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Rainer Maria Cardinalis Wölki, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae muna mea tango.
Et ego Jacobis Cardinalis Harvi, Spondeo, Roveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, de manu mea tango.
Et ego Basilius Cardinalis Clemis, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Gerardus Ludovicus Cardinalis Müller, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Vincent Cardinalis Nicholas Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Leopoldo José Cardinalis, Brenis Solórzano, Spondeo, Voveo, ex Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Gérald Cyprien, Cardinalis Lacroix, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
And as we see each of the cardinals coming up and taking the oath, as we mentioned at the beginning, there's quite a number of cardinals for countries that have never had a cardinal elector participate in a conclave. There are at least 15 countries that this is the first time that their country will be represented in the election of a pontiff. And those countries include Myanmar, Haiti, Central African Republic, Cape Verde, Papua New Guinea, Malaysia, Sweden, Luxembourg, East Timor, Singapore, Paraguay, South Sudan, Serbia, and Mongolia, and Rwanda. And this is the most international in history, with representatives from 71 countries, making it a very international and wide-reaching representation of the universality of the Catholic Church.
Sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Philippus Cardinalis Vedraugo, Spondeo, Voveo, at Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Scibli Cardinalis Langlois, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Manuel Cardinalis Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Brana Iesus Cardinalis Raphael, Spondeo, Voveo, ac Iuro,
sic me Deus adjuvet, et hec sancta Dei Evangelia, per manu mea tango.
Et ego John Cardinalis Jew, spondeo vovio ac euro, sic me Deus adjuvit et haec sancta Dei Evangelii, qui mano mea tango.
Et ergo Charles Cardinalis spondeo vovio ac euro, sic me Deus adjuvet et anca sancta Dei Evangelia, qui manu mea tango.
Et ego Francis Xavier Cardinalis cring sacovit vanis spondeo voleo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvat et hec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Franciscus Cardinalis Montenegro, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Daniel Cardinalis Sturla Veruet, spondeo vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Arlindo Cardinalis Gomis Furtado, spondeo vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Soane Patita Cardinalis Maffi, spondeo voveo ec iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet ec haec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Dieudonné Cardinalis Nzapalainga, spondeo voveo ad iuro, sic meus Deus adjuvent, et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Cardinal Osoro, spondeo ad iuro, si me Deus adjuvet sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Sergio Cardinalis da Rocha, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Blasius Cardinalis Supich, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et hic sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Joseph de Cardinalis de Ceso, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Carlos Cardinalis Aguiarretes, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ec sancta Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
And perhaps brief curiosity in this process as each cardinal swears to uphold this oath, and each one has to do it individually because each one is personally responsible for his promise. Some of the cardinals have given their first name in Latin, some of them give it in their native language, and their last names are all the last names as they would say them in normal life. And when we have the announcement of the new Pope, hopefully guided by the Holy Spirit very soon, the announcement will be made in a similar fashion, where they will read the formula for the announcement of a new Roman Pontiff. The first name will be read in Latin, followed by their title, and concluding with their last name in everyday language. And so those who are watching on the night of the election after the white smoke comes out, there will be lots of people with lists of first names of cardinals in Latin, so that they can determine immediately which of the cardinals will have been chosen as the new supreme pontiff. There is no such time limit for a conclave. The cardinals are expected to have a vote immediately this evening. Each cardinal writes out the vote on a paper ballot, disguising their handwriting so that we can preserve anonymity as much as possible. And for the election of a new pope, a full 2/3 of the voting cardinals need to make their choice for the same person. And as I mentioned, there will be a vote this evening. We will have a coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Rome time in anticipation of the results of that first vote, which will be signaled with burning of the ballots and the black or white smoke coming from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. All of that happens behind closed doors. If there is if a pope is not elected this evening, the conclave concludes for the day, and we'll pick up again tomorrow morning with Mass and prayer. And each day, each subsequent day, there are 2 votes in the morning if necessary, and 2 votes in the afternoon if necessary. No pope is elected. The black smoke comes out after the second vote. If a pope is elected, of course, the white smoke will come out after whichever vote it happens at. After several rounds of voting, if it takes that long, there is provision in the Apostolic Constitution for a period for a break where the cardinals will not vote, and then they will pick up after a day of reflection and prayer. They'll pick up again the following day and continue again in groups of successive votes with certain periods programmed in, where if there is a longer conclave, they will have various points at which they'll be able to take a break and reflect and pray. It's been a very long time since we've had conclave go within a few days, since the beginning of the 20th century. The longest conclave lasted only 7 votes in 1903 and took place over the course of 5 days. The voting schedule was not the same as it is now. So we will be taking a break after the extra omnis and the closing of the doors of the Sistine Chapel. And then we will resume our live broadcast this evening at 6 p.m. Rome time. And we'll be giving coverage of the conclave, leading up to the expected first smoke signal, as it were, announcing the outcome of this evening's ballot for the papacy.
Et ego, Alvaro Cardinalis Ramazzini, spondeo, voveo adjuro.
And we're currently at the midst of the Cardinals of the Order of Presbyters, which will be followed by the Order of Deacons. Once again, each Cardinal makes the oath in his own name, taking personal responsibility for his promise and his commitment to maintain the secrecy of the conclave to faithfully carry out the Petrine ministry if elected, and a solemn oath to affirm and defend boldly the spiritual and temporal rights, the religious and secular rights, as well as the freedom of the Holy See. The oath also speaks about the necessity of faithfully and scrupulously observing all of the prescriptions that the popes have laid out for the conduct of the conclave, and we can be assured the whole apparatus and procedure of the conclave is designed to ensure that there can be no doubt about the valid election of the next pope. And we know that these cardinals all take very seriously this very religious commitment to elect a new bishop of Rome.
Spondeo voveo acuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Augustus Paulus, cardinalis lo iudice, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Ioannes Marcus, cardinalis Avelin, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Peter e bere cardinalis Basilica, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et hex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu Deo tango.
Et ego Leonardus Udalricus cardinalis Steiner, spondio vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Philippus Neri, cardinalis Ferrau, spondeo vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Robertus cardinalis McElroy, spondeo vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelii, quae manu mea.
Et ego Virgilius cardinalis do Carmo da Silva, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus audivet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Anscarius cardinalis Cantoni, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Pula cardinalis Anthony, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuet, et ac sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Paulus Caesar cardinalis Costa, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego William cardinalis Co, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ac sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Adalbertus Cardinalis Martinez Flores, spondeo boveo adjuro, sigme Deus adiuve et Santa Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Georgius Cardinalis Marengo, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Petrus Baptista Cardinalis Pizzaballa, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Stephen Cardinalis Brislin, spondio vovio adiugoro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Angelus Sixtus Cardinalis Rossi, spondio boveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Aloisio Joseph Cardinalis Rueda Aparicio, spondeo boveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Gregorius Cardinalis Risch, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Muller Stephen Martin Muller, spendo vevo ac iura, sic me Deu advent ad hac Sancta Dei Evangelia, qui mani mea tango.
Et ego Joseph Cardinalis Covocano, spondeo boveo adiuro, sic me Deu adiuvet et ec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Protasius Cardinalis Rugambua, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Sebastian Cardinalis Francis, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Stephen Cardinalis Chao, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adivove et ac Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Franciscus Saverius Cardinalis Bustillo, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Americum Cardinalis Aguiar, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ec Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Carlos Cardinalis Castillo, spondeo voveo ac iuro, Deus adiuvet et ex Sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Vicente Cardinalis Vocalis Spondio Bovio Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et sancta de Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Luis Gerardo Cardinalis Cabrera Spondio Bovio Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
As we mentioned before, the conclave is when the cardinals are locked in the Sistine Chapel, and that comes from the Latin phrase conclave, literally means with a key, and this stemmed from the time when, during the conclave in 1268 in Viterbo, because the papal see had to be moved from Rome due to the overwhelming violence that was taking place in the Eternal City. So the papal see was moved to a small town, Viterbo, right outside of Rome, and it was the longest conclave in history, lasting just about 3 years, and to encourage the cardinals who had taken so long, the citizens of Viterbo had locked the cardinals into the palace of the popes in Viterbo, and also kept them limited to bread and water to, again, encourage an election, a quicker election, but it still ended up taking until September of 1271, after about 3 years without a pontiff, and it was at that time that Pope Gregory X was elected. And it's from that time that we actually get the beginnings of the modern conclave process that we see today, which actually, the pontiff that was elected during that time, Gregory X, he published an apostolic constitution, Ubi Periculum, with more concrete rules on how the selection of a pope should be carried out, and that's the apostolic constitution that remains the basis of this modern-day process that we are seeing now with these cardinals taking the oath of secrecy.
Cardinalis Johannes Paulus. Et ego Johannes Paulus, Cardinalis Vesco, Spondeo, Vovevo, Acciuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Dominicus Josephus Cardinalis Mathieu Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Robertus Cardinalis Repole Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Baldassare Cardinalis Reina Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelii quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Franciscus Cardinalis Leo Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Micola Cardinalis Bicioc Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
Et ego Dominicus Cardinalis Battaglia Spondeo Voveo Acciuro sic me Deus adiuvet sancta Dei Evangelia quae manum mea tango.
And now we move on to the order of deacons, including the Cardinal Camerlengo, who had for the property, the fiscal goods of the patrimony of St. Peter, and has an important role during the interregnum, the sedevacante, as we get closer to the last of the cardinals making their oath. to
Et ego
faithfully
Kevin Cardinalis
adhere to the rules for the conclave,
Spondio Voveo et
fulfill the duties of the Petrarch ministry if they are chosen as Pope, and especially to preserve the secrecy that is involved with the election of the Roman Pontiff. We will approach the point where we will hear the Master of Pontifical Liturgical Ceremonies proclaim the Latin phrase extra omnes. Let everyone go out, calling all non-cardinal electors to leave the Sistine Chapel. The papal MC will remain within the Sistine Chapel briefly while Cardinal Cantalamessa gives the meditation to the Cardinals according to the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Graecis. And at the conclusion of that meditation, with the papal ceremoniere, the papal master of ceremonies, guiding the ceremony, he will then leave the Sistine Chapel. He will ensure that all the entrances to the Sistine Chapel are closed and secured, the guard is posted, and the cardinals will proceed with the first ballot according to the ceremony. After the papal MC leaves the Sistine Chapel, the cardinal dean or the person acting on his behalf, having consulted the electors, will immediately invite them to consider any business that they feel must be urgently addressed. And in the absence of any urgent business, or after that has been concluded, the cardinal electors will proceed to the first vote, again according to all the procedures laid out in the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Graecis. And the ceremony indicates finally that the first session of the conclave may be fittingly and appropriately closed by invoking the help of the Virgin Mother of God, Mary Most Holy, with the very ancient and traditional Marian prayer, the hymn Subtum Presidium. We fly to thy protection, O Holy Mother of God. Despise not our petitions in our necessities, but deliver us always from all dangers, O glorious and blessed Virgin.
Ac ego, Emilius Paulus Cardinalis Ceric, spondeo voveo ediu acuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancte Dei Evangelia, que manu meo tango.
Et ego, Christophorus Cardinalis, Pierre, spondeo voveo acuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tengo.
Et ego, Angelus Cardinalis Fernandez Artime, spondeo boveo ac juro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego, Rolandus Cardinalis Makritskas, spondeo voveo ac juro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego, Timotheus Cardinalis Radcliffe, spondeo voveo ac juro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancte Dei Evangelii, que manu meo tango.
Et ego,
Fabius Cardinalis Baggio spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ec sancte Dei Evangelia que manu mea tango.
Ego Georgium Cardinalis Cuvacad, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ec sancta Dei Evangelia que manu mea tango.
And George Jacob Covacad, the final Cardinal Deacon, swears the oath. And we proceed to the closing of
Extra omnes.
We hear those words in Latin where it means everyone out, signaling when all the non-essential people in the Sistine Chapel are invited to leave and the cardinals can begin their discussions.
So for those of you watching on television, there are a number of notaries who were there in their capacity to formally recognize the beginning of the conclave, and a number of other persons who are in attendance for various reasons. All of them are out of the Sistine Chapel, and as soon as they leave, the doors will be closed, the meditation will be given, the papal MC will leave, and the solemn closing, locking, and guarding of the doors of the conclave will take place, followed by the first vote this evening. And with the exit from the Sistine Chapel, our live coverage of the Cardinals' entrance into conclave for the election of the 267th Pope draws to a close. We do invite you to visit our Vatican News website, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube accounts for continuous coverage of the conclave. On behalf of the Vatican Media, we'd like to thank our sound engineer Mario and our audio coordinators and all of our producers, as well as our media partners, EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom World Television's Network USA, Luminous Radio, at Madarshan TV, Catholic TV, and Uganda Catholic Television, who helped make this broadcast possible.
My name is Kelsey Gussie.
And I'm Christopher Wells. It's been our very great pleasure providing the English commentary and translation of the ceremony of the entrance into the conclave for you.
A very special thank you to all of you for joining us wherever you have been listening or watching. And don't forget to join Chris and our colleague Linda Bordoni again in just a few minutes at 6 p.m. local Rome time for the live commentary as we await the Cardinals' decision, and keep an eye out on the chimney on the Sistine Chapel for either black or white smoke later this evening.
Praise be Jesus Christ. Laudetur Jesus Christus.